What's cooking? What's poppin'? It is your boy, Pat Chennington, and today I want to present to you my picks for the top 5 releases from Vaporwave's golden boy, the one, the only, Saint Pepsi. Saint Pepsi was one of the first artists I had ever discovered in the scene, and to this day will always remain one of mine and many others' all-time favorite producers. Saint Pepsi, who currently creates music as Skylar Spence, started tapping into the Vaporwave vein back in late 2012, and during his time as an artist in the scene created a number of albums, leaving us with nothing but feel-good, simple, to the point fun that we would all enjoy still to this very day. With an absolutely dominating run in the earlier times of the genre, 2013 was easily the year of Saint Pepsi. If there was like a Vaporwave award show, he would have taken home all the gold that year, as I have never seen an artist dominate one particular year in the genre as much as the Pepsi man did. 10 album releases, 10 goddamn albums. You could actually say 11 albums or releases for him in 2013, as his first album, Laser Tag Zero, came out 4 days before 2013 started. So it all really depends on how you look at it, but bottom line, this dude just was pumping out shit the whole year. In my opinion, he is the originator of that happy, not too aggressively sugary vapor funk sound. You know what I'm talking about, that music to complement the perfect New York City block party on a hot summer day. He had a very clear vision when choosing samples and nicely putting them together and putting them to work, giving you nothing but a boogie-inducing listening experience, ranging from a variety of styles like 70s and 80s American R&B, Japanese city pop, radio pop hits, and Mario Kart 64 sound bites. Saint Pepsi's selection of samples and how he simply blended his chops together to make the tracks bloom and just shine allowed him to pop out albums at a very rapid rate. The formula was straightforward, and hey, the people absolutely loved it. That being said, I am very excited to give you my picks for the top 5 Saint Pepsi albums. These are more of my personal favorites than anything else, so I would also love to hear what your favorite Saint Pepsi releases are as well. Let me know in the comments below, and as always, make sure you like the video, click that subscribe button, and turn on the bell for notifications so you never miss a video. Alright, let's go for it. So a notable mention I wanted to put in this list before I start, an album that has had a major influence in Vaporwave and is always going to be an undeniable classic, fan favorite, that I just personally never really listened to that much compared to some of his other releases. I know people just love this album, and that's why its signature status cannot be ignored. I gotta put it in this list as like the number 6, so this is kind of like 6 Saint Pepsi's best albums. I'm talking about obviously the legendary Late Night Delight. I've actually done 2 videos already talking about that album, so to save time and focus on some of his other works, I recommend checking those videos out. I'll leave them in the description. Okay, so let's start off the list with one of Saint Pepsi's earlier releases, the fuzzy electropop wonderland of World Tour. Taking a look back at this early day Saint Pep's release is really interesting, especially when you look at the gradual change in attitude his production style went through from the beginning of 2013 to the end of it. Here on World Tour, we see a moodier side of sample choices that definitely fit more into that classic textbook vapor sound compared to his more dance floor disco pop releases that he would release later on. World Tour is fun and weird, slow and slimy grooves that bite at you. I love the slow tempo treatment for songs that would also sound pretty well sped up at higher tempos beyond like the 120 beats per minute range. Here Saint Pepsi lets the triumphant instrumentals in the song sample do all the talking by stretching them out and really giving them the limelight. Tracks like One Look is a great example of that. The saxophone just dominating the main stage as Saint Pepsi drags that thing out to sound like a wolf howling in the night. The music of World Tour is nothing short of the perfect background music for you and that special someone you've always had a crush on for so damn long, and now it's just you two alone under the moonlight with nothing but a portable cassette player. Let these magical, patient tracks take both your hands into a world of wonder. Very delicate treatments on here, super smooth at its core, yet that fuzzy radio VHS-like texture gives this thing some classic vapor lovin'. For those really trying to find some classic vapor from Saint Pepsi, really take a look at World Tour and all the stuff he was putting out right at the beginning of his reign, you cannot go wrong with some early day Saint Pepsi. Number 4, let's talk about another classic Vaporwave heavy style release. Let's take a visit to the Empire Building, Saint Pepsi's 5th album in a span of like 35 days or something in that first month. In 2013, this dude was just popping out tunes when he first came about. Crazy. Let it also be known that this release was the first release on the legendary, fabled Fortune 500 label, and I mean, what an introductory piece for the insane discography they would end up having over there. Empire Building is everything we love to see in the scene. I'm talking prime vapor cuts of meat here, crooning and pitched down vocal samples battling each other on the track Teen Love, the heavy summertime vibes on Pineapple Juniors. Also, real quick, check out the Macross 8299 remix of this, arguably one of the hardest hitting tracks in the whole goddamn future funk scene in my opinion. That thing just bangs. Empire Building is a great follow-up from World Tour. They pretty much sound almost identical from the treatment of samples to how he mastered the tracks, even though on here we do see a bit more attention at working with the samples used. I find this one to be a very fun release that also would introduce us to the more groovier side of Saint Pepsi. A lot of 2/4 beats on here, the side chaining we would see in later months. Tracks like Shaolin you can find towards the latter parts of the album is an absolute banger. It's got that late night, we about to shut the club down vibe. This one will get your legs moving. Also on there, love that little horn sample that cuts short on every offbeat. It's so spicy, love it. Yeah, Empire Building and World Tour, my opinion for the best early Pepsi out there. Listen to these two for some Jurassic Vapor selects. Alright, next let's change the whole damn game up. We are about to get groovy as hell. At number 3, I'm giving it to the classic Studio 54, a release by Saint Pepsi that had one goal and one goal only: to make you dance no matter who you are, where you are, and with the person standing right next to you. Most people remember Saint Pepsi for his Hit Vibes release, and if you are looking for something similar to that sound but haven't really found something that hits you as much as Hit Vibes, Studio 54 is pretty damn close. It's right behind it. This thing is just bleeding with disco energy every single second of it. You know, Pad baby, I'm a sucker for that disco sound. It is just so infectious and passionate, and here, Saint Pepsi just resonates with me. I know there's others in this world who truly see the glory and beauty those late 70s, early 80s tracks contain. He also keeps it fresh though. It's not just old groovy tunes. We see some pop selections on here you might recognize very well. Also loving some of these track titles, showing some love to Mario Kart 64 on here with the track Frappe Snowland and the track Koopa Air. Like, imagine a bunch of Koopas from Mario Kart starting an airline. That's some groovy shit. Studio 54 has that city escape music. It's energy that will break you out of the daily norm and want to throw a pool party. You better invite me though. You know I need to get some color, and what better way to roast like a rotisserie chicken in the sun while having Studio 54 by Saint Pepsi blaring in the background. I don't think it gets better than that, so send me that invite. At number 2, the runner-up for me, a lot of you guys know I love this album very, very much. I find it, from an objective standpoint, to be one of the most quintessential Vaporwave releases ever dropped. I'm talking about the lovely, the enchanting Winner Circle. Winner Circle is just a buffet of Vaporwave opportunity for a listener. This thing is just crammed with everything we would ever want in a Vapor release. 24 songs, a split album actually with the artist Shopping World that has a very constant motion throughout, so if you need just a heavy dose of Vapor, you can't go wrong. Give this thing a listen from start to finish. It's gonna quench your thirst. I've done an entire episode on the Vaporwave Essential series of this album. Check it out if you want to hear me go more in depth about it. So I'm gonna keep it short and precise here for the sake of moving the list on and getting to the number 1 spot. Winner Circle sounds like you stumbled into a big department store in the early 90s and the radio sound system has gone haywire, so they're waiting for like a repairman to come and fix it, and everyone is annoyed at the music because it's all glitchy and skipping. But come on, we're Vaporwave fans, so we're low-key enjoying every second of this. Saint Pepsi's side of the release on here features some of his most well-known, beloved tracks ever. Private Caller, Newton, Kickstart My Heart, also one of my favorite Saint Pepsi tracks ever. Car Park is on here. I think I want to do a remix of that track. Let me add that to the list of shit I want to do. So yeah, I'll keep this one short since I've done a whole video on it, but I gotta give Winner Circle the number 2 spot. This thing is super to the point from start to finish. Some luxurious treatments to season the already royal sounding horns on here. Perfume section sounding piano melodies. Let this be the perfect soundtrack to your high-end department store needs. Alright, number 1, y'all probably saw this coming from a mile away, and for me to try and think of any other release to put at the number 1 spot would just be pretentiously edgy at this point. Yep, ladies and gents, I'm talking about the one, the only, Hit Vibes. Hit Vibes was one of the first releases I have ever heard upon finding the Vaporwave scene in like 2014, 2015. Hit Vibes is Saint Pepsi's best work easily. Simple at its core, and that's what I love about Saint Pepsi. He keeps the integrity of the samples all while having some fun with the vocals those samples contain. Tracks like Around, he chops up those vocals and places them tastefully over the Bed of Rice, which is the sample loop he keeps of that original sample underneath the entire track. It's a really productive way of working with a sample, and it allows an opportunity to bring these samples to life and not just like grab one section of a song, place it in your song, and just loop it. Like, you can really recreate or just make your own song out of these old samples, and Saint Pepsi did that so well. My boy Electric Dreams, who does some awesome tutorials on YouTube on how to make future funk, recently made a video where he breaks down the process of remaking the Skylar Spence track on this album, and he made a very good point in that video stating that Saint Pepsi treats his samples very precisely on here. His cuts and chops blend wonderfully into one another, especially at points where there is no vocals. You can easily mistake Saint Pepsi's work ethic on here and believe that he's just grabbing the sample and looping it with no work whatsoever. These sample chops are so well placed that it makes these loops sound like he just took one section of a whole song. They're that smooth, with the track list just boasting in energy. Tracks like Better, Around, Strawberry Lemonade, Fantasy. This whole track list is classic and is the perfect party starter right off the bat. That first track, titled Hit Vibes, is a clean triple down the middle. I mean, talk about a groovy, punchy lineup of songs, Saint Pepsi. Dude, you really created something here back in 2013 that will stick in our hearts for a very, very long time. Now all we need for him to do is give the people a damn reissue of the vinyl. But it's cool. I know, he's moving on to bigger things, and I'm really proud of Ryan, and I know the dude is just going to kill it with whatever he makes, and we're always going to back him up. What are some of your favorite Saint Pepsi releases? Let me know in the comments below. You know I would love to hear what you gotta say. And until next time, I love you son of a bitches. Thank you so much for watching. Much love, your boy, Pad Chennington.